2 Samuel 19 sort of plays as a curtain call for many of the folks that had a part in David's departure during the time Absalom was trying to take over the throne. But it starts off with Joab, or Joab as we call him, reproaching David for his grief. You know, I at one time thought that David, maybe his heart wasn't right with God during this time because of the way he responded, but now I realize that I was wrong, because David's unbelievably giving in this whole period. I mean, with his son Absalom trying to take over, and David was kind of like, let it happen, maybe this is God's will. And then, with the point where, Ishbosheth, Saul's son, taking the kingdom, and Abner, and all the things that he did that, appeared to be brazen, to where he just wanted to fight, where he killed Joab's brother. And then, but David let Ishbosheth just remain as king as long as he cared to. But God kind of knew how that would be taken out of play. It's very interesting. If you look back, if you befriend me on Facebook, I made like a little running commentary of the history of the things, kind of for my own benefit also, to kind of help keep the names in order of who killed who and all that, right at the beginning of David's kingdom. But anyway, here we go. David's son Absalom dies. I thought because of his great mourning that he was not right with the Lord. Because remember when David's first son by Bathsheba died, David washed his face and left it alone. And I thought, now see, that's the way you should do it. Don't weep as those that have no hope. But, here's this kid, that Absalom, who wanted to kill David, and David weeps for him. But, that shows such great compassion. And then Joab, the guy who killed him, is rebuking David for crying over the loss of his son, when David commanded Joab not to touch his son. And Joab did it anyway. Joab's in trouble. So, anyway, here's the curtain call part of it. And David makes a proclamation in this chapter also, that the Lord do so to me and more also. And boy, when those guys make those kind of comments, either it's going to come back on them, as they say, the Lord do so to me and more also, if, where is it? I thought it was like around here. Anyways, he basically says Joab's done. But here we go. Shimei is pardoned by David. Remember this guy? He's the guy that was throwing the rocks and cursing at David. Throwing rocks, spitting at him, cursing, walking amongst his hosts. And the guy was saying, let me go take his head off. And David says, no, you're not going to kill anybody. Well, then something similar happens here. But this guy this time comes, just in case, with 1,000 men. Okay, and there were 1,000 men of Benjamin with him, and Ziba, the servant of the house of Saul. Remember, Ziba was the guy that was put over Mephibosheth. Ziba was the guy who came down to David with the mule and the wine and the other stuff that he was gonna like. But then we find out in this chapter that I don't know if it's what he's referring to, but Mephibosheth said that he was supposed to take. Ziba, I guess, was supposed to take him, Mephibosheth, to see David on that mule, if I'm getting those two parts correct. But anyway, so Ziba comes along and he asks forgiveness. So here's person number one that comes along that has a part in this chapter that, sort of like, here they come again. Okay, then Mephibosheth, that comes along and does this curtain call. He's got himself a big old beard and dirty as all get out, because he's during that whole time that David was gone. Now I could have, and I should, got no reason for not. There's years here posted, and maybe you can see them on some of the readings. Or if you go back to when David left, you can see how long he was actually gone by the dates that are in this Reese Chronological Bible. So then the next one that comes along is Barzillai. And he comes along to see David. And like that. So it's sort of a curtain call for some, and more of a changing of the guard. We'll see what happens with Joab as things continue on here. And we get into the next reading, which is going to be kind of long, because it's got a bunch of psalms involved, which is also an indication of the fact that David's heart was right during this time. He was being inspired of the Lord to write more psalms.